welcome back. We have with us Dr. Shama Kovale, an ENT, a laryngologist, and a voice and swallowing specialist. Can we have her on the screen, please?
Hi, Darpan. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Shama. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm doing great.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being a part of India Voice Fest.
Thank you for
Is this
having
the
me.
first time that you are addressing a forum which is attended by or viewed by primarily voiceover artists, or have you had
Yes.
such opportunities?
No,
This is the first time.
primarily voiceover artist. It's the first time. Yes,
Yes, yes.
definitely.
All of us who are a part of India Voice Fest or a part of our industry are largely spoken voice artists. So it's a huge industry, as I've spoken to you about before. And in fact, when you are there on the 8th of December for the grand finale, you will see that there are hundreds and several hundred people, which form a very small fraction of the actual entire industry. And the beauty is that this is a growing industry. People are joining in every single day, and there are thousands and thousands of us. But ironically, what is really ironic and unfortunate is कि जितना बड़ा हमारा व्यवसाय है, हमारी कला है, उतनी ही कम जानकारी हम में से ज्यादातर लोगों को एक्चुअली अपनी आवाज की है। तो मैं सबसे पहला जो मेरा सवाल है, I'll get down to business directly, is that आपके during your practice, during your extensive experience, what are the most common voice or vocal problems that people come to you with?
Okay. So, depending on how aware are they about their voice, the problems will differ. Most commonly, they come with hoarseness or change of voice. So वो आते हैं बोल के कि आवाज़ चेंज हो गई है. But certain people who are really aware about their voice will come with very minute nuances, like वो बोलेंगे कि मैं लो पिच में जाता हूँ तो मेरी आवाज़ क्रैक होती है, या फिर when I'm going on to a high pitch मेरी आवाज़ क्रैक होती है, या फिर आई एम नॉट एबल टू मेंटेन माय रेंज, कि मैं लो टू हाई जितना जा सकता था अभी उतना नहीं जा पा रहा हूँ. I'm just reaching to the mid level. Or so if they're very much aware of their voice, then they come with these complaints. Otherwise, generally it is like I'm change of voice. वो सुबह में आवाज़ खराब होती है, by the end of the day it starts becoming normal, or vice versa. So these are the general complaints which they come with for the first time. Or else they
Okay,
can
so this
also
is
come with
interesting. Yeah. Please.
or else they can also come with fatigability, that they get tired easily when they are
Yeah,
doing their
yeah,
work or when they're
yeah.
recording. पहले अगर 1 घंटा कर सकते थे, अभी they get tired within 45 minutes. They feel that no, I don't want to talk anymore. So this is also one of the complaints
So
which they
these are
come with.
classic problems that actually even we face as voiceover artists. So जैसे
Yes.
आपने सबसे last point की अगर बात करूं, experiencing vocal fatigue, तो ये तो हमारे साथ बहुत होता है. So does this is can this be treated? Is there a regimen that can be followed, or is it something that requires medical attention, or are there some good practices that one can follow for general care to avoid such early fatigue?
Okay. To the first point, do we need to do anything if you're facing this problem? So I will say that if you're facing vocal fatigability, then the first thing to do is visit a laryngologist, visit a voice specialist, because first go and have a look at your vocal folds. Are they normal? Or there is a problem with them? That's the reason why you're getting tired so easily. If there's no problem with your vocal cords per se,
Mhm.
then you will be given a regimen to do. Like you are asked to follow up certain things, or you're asked to meet a voice therapist, or you're asked to meet a voice teacher, vocal coach, so that you know what else you can do other than, so that you don't get tired so easily. Because when you're talking, even talking, normal talking, the vocal folds are just not, they are V types. They are, you look at the
Ah,
vocal folds, you will see like
okay.
this. They
Mm-hmm.
move in one direction, and plus there is a vibration which is constantly happening. So when
Okay.
you're talking constantly, like in your case, in your dubbing artist or voiceover
Hmm.
artist, you
Hmm.
have to record for a long period of time. So there is a
Right.
constant movement which is happening. So that causes any muscle. If you keep on lifting weight, if you are doing a weightlifting,
Actually,
you keep on
yeah.
lifting weight for 10 round counts, you do it for 15 counts. After 15
Hmm.
counts, you will start feeling that there is fatigability there. You're getting tired. Your muscle
Correct.
cannot work
Correct.
further. So your
Correct.
vocal folds are also made up of muscles, so they
Okay.
also get
Okay.
tired if you're constantly making them work. Therefore, a person
Correct.
or a professional who is using a
Hmm.
voice is also
Hmm.
called as vocal athlete, because they're using the vocal folds like an athlete,
Interesting.
constantly
Okay.
constantly on the use. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
once
Hmm.
you know that your chords are, vocal folds are normal, then you're given a regimen. So
Okay.
there is vocal hygiene. When you say talk about vocal hygiene, it is hydration. You have to drink at least 2.5 liters of water for a day. Vocal naps, that's a good practice. Vocal naps,
Absolutely. Hmm.
when you say vocal naps, is basically if you're doing your recording say for 1 hour,
Hmm.
you have to take breaks in between. You cannot just keep on talking.
Yeah.
So those are called as vocal naps. So you are
Vocal.
resting your vocal cords.
Okay.
Thirdly, no late nights, proper sleep, no sleep deprivation,
Correct.
alcohol, smoking, fried stuffs. So your diet becomes very important. So
Right.
all
Right.
these things form a part of your vocal hygiene.
Okay.
Keeping hydrated is very very important, because that helps you in your pliability of your vocal folds. It helps you in your vocal modulation, because if you get dry, you cannot do anything with your voice. It will sound flat. So that's the reason hydration is very important. So these are the things as far as vocal hygiene is concerned. Then secondly, what we do is, you can be given, the vocal coaches can give you vocal exercises. So you
Okay.
can do relaxation exercises, you can do breathing exercises,
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
you can do lip trills, tongue trills,
Yeah.
you can do,
Hmm.
there are so many multiple various kinds of exercises which can be given to
Correct.
you just to
Hmm.
relax your vocal folds.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's
So
interesting.
these,
So, and so these are your uh, good habits or good practices in general for everyday vocal care. You
yes,
interesting. You spoke about smoking and alcohol. While I do agree that sleep deprivation is a common occurrence now with a lot of us, and what happens is that these answers are all the answers that you're giving are fantastic, but just that what is more important than the answer is the implementation of that answer. So I wanted to touch upon the smoking part, doctor, because there is this misconception. A lot of people in my industry, especially voiceover artists, they smoke, and I mean the whole world smokes. A lot of people all over the world smoke, agnostic of the industry. But in our industry, there is this, जिसको हम कहते हैं गलत धारणा एक है कि if you smoke a lot, then you will develop a heavier, deeper voice. So we wanted from you today that could you shed some light on how important an element does smoking play, not just in your general health, but also in your vocal health, and how does it work?
ओके, यू सेड दैट लोगों को लगता है कि आवाज़ भारी हो जाती है, वो
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
बेस आ जाता है, राइट, दैट बैरिटोन विच यू गेट,
Yeah, yeah,
दैट इज बेसिकली अ पैथोलॉजी विच हैपेंस पोस्ट
yeah. हाँ,
स्मोकिंग.
ये
ओके,
आप समझाइए इन लेमैन लैंग्वेज, क्योंकि ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है।
तो ये आप जब स्मोक करते हो तभी क्या होता है, आपके वोकल फोल्ड्स में इडीमा तैयार हो जाता है. सो देयर इज लॉट ऑफ, सो वी हैव वोकल फोल्ड्स, हम क्यों बोलते हैं, जस्ट कमिंग टू बेसिक, जस्ट सो दैट पीपल कैन अंडरस्टैंड. वोकल फोल्ड्स क्यों बोलते हैं, क्योंकि दे आर रैप्ड इन एन एपिथेलियम और द कवरिंग ऑफ द वोकल फोल्ड्स, एंड उसके नीचे लेयर्स है. So there is, first layer is epithelium, then there is a jelly like material which is called as superficial lamina propria. उसके नीचे ligament रहता है which is a stiff structure, and उसके नीचे muscle रहता है which forms the main body of your vocal fold. तो ये जो लैमिना, सुपरफिशियल लैमिना प्रोप्रिया, जो जेली लाइक मटेरियल है, दैट गिव्स द प्लायबिलिटी टू योर वोकल folds. That
Okay.
that is a very important part of your vocal cords
Okay.
as far as voice is concerned.
Okay.
So when you smoke a lot, ये जो सुपरफिशियल लैमिना प्रोप्रिया है उसमें फ्लूइड जमा होके देयर इज इडीमा विच इज डेवलप्ड, विच इज कॉल्ड एज रिंकीज इडीमा. सो दिस इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज रिंकीज स्पेस.
Okay. So edema in layman language क्या
इडीमा
जख्म हो गया?
सूजन बोल सकते हो,
सूजन हो गया.
जहाँ पे फ्लूइड तैयार हो गया है. और
जैसे
सो
हम कहते
जो
हैं कि
वोकल,
पस हो जाता है, हम कहते
पस
हैं.
नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट इन्फेक्शन.
ओके.
दिस इज जस्ट एन इन्फ्लेमेटरी, मतलब इन्फ्लेमेशन का प्रोसेस है जहाँ पे
ओके.
फ्लूइड जमा हो गया है. सो
ओके.
अगर आपका नॉर्मल वोकल फोल्ड का थिकनेस इतना है
हाँ जी.
तो इट विल बिकम डबल और ट्रिपल.
ओके.
ओके, so it will bulge out, so it will bulge out like this.
ओके. ओके.
Okay, and that gives, because there is a, yeah, so the mass also affects your vocal quality. So
Okay.
because there is increase in mass there, you get that heavy voice.
Right. Right. Right.
But when you think of health as such,
Mhm.
per se, vocal health as well, this is a pathology, this is not normal.
Correct.
If you want a baritone, if you want a voice like Amitabh Bachchan, you need to practice correct practices, which is what a vocal coach can teach you, how to get to that voice, or how to develop that bass for the voice, how to develop that baritone. So that, otherwise, smoking causes dryness in your vocal folds.
Okay. Okay.
Smoking is a big risk for cancer. As far
Correct.
as Rinke's edema is concerned, it's okay. But when you go to, if you get a cancer, you will use your voice. Even if it is radiation, how, what level of your cancer you get depends on that. The treatment will differ. But
Correct.
then, as a voice user, as a voice professional, you don't want to go that way at all.
Absolutely.
That's
So
the
yeah.
reason
Yeah. Yeah.
smoking should not be used for your voice.
करेक्ट. करेक्ट. सो यही मैं चाह रहा था कि यही बात मैं आपसे जानना चाह रहा था, जो आपने अच्छा बताया. इसीलिए मैं सूजन और जख्म वर्ड इसलिए यूज कर रहा था, जस्ट टू मेक इट लुक साउंड वेरी बैड एंड साउंड वेरी ग्रोस एंड वेरी ग्राफिक, कि जिसकी वजह से आपको लगता है कि आपकी आवाज़ भारी हो रही है, और वो एक्चुअली एक सूजन है आपके, और वो नॉर्मल नहीं है. एंड दैट सूजन, और ज़्यादा स्मोकिंग करने से बहुत चांसेस हैं कि सूजन बढ़ के आपका नासूर या जख्म हो सकता है, जो कैंसरस भी हो सकता है. एंड हमारी इंडस्ट्री में ऐसा हुआ भी है मैम कि वी हैड अ वेरी वेरी सीनियर legendary voice artist who actually contracted cancer of the throat, and unfortunately he was a very heavy smoker. So ये लॉजिक कई लोग देते हैं कि कितने ही लोग हैं जिनको स्मोकिंग करने से कुछ नहीं होता, बट आई फाइंड दैट वेरी वेरी सिली, क्योंकि और कई लोग कहते हैं कि थोड़ा सा स्मोक कर लेंगे तो मतलब वो जहर है, थोड़ा सा हो या ज्यादा हो, आप मतलब इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सो इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट टू
हाँ,
अंडरस्टैंड दिस. या
एंड कितने को होता नहीं है, बट अगर आपको हो गया तो आपको
वो
100% हो गया ना आपके लिए.
हाँ,
I mean,
आपका तो 100% हो गया. एग्जैक्टली.
if you're talking about percentage, if you say कि 100 लोग स्मोक कर रहे हैं उसमें से सिर्फ 70% को होता है, बट अगर आप वो 70% में हो गए तो आपके लिए वो 100% हो गया ना.
या
So
मतलब क्या इज एनीथिंग वर्थ दैट, टेकिंग दैट चांस ऑन योर
exactly,
लाइफ. दैट्स द पॉइंट.
exactly.
सो प्लीज, दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट. डॉक्टर, आपने एक मेंशन किया कि वोकल कॉर्ड थिक हो जाता है. मैंने ऐसा पढ़ा है, आई माइट बी कंप्लीटली रॉन्ग, इफ यू कुड हेल्प अस. डू women have thinner vocal folds and do men have thicker? Why do men and women have such strikingly different notes of their voice? Why do women sound at a higher frequency and men generally have a lower note?
So that is because again of the thickness. So and the length of the vocal folds. Males have a longer vocal fold and females
Okay.
have shorter vocal folds. Males have a little thicker vocal folds as compared to females. So the mass is completely opposite to your pitch
Okay.
and the
Okay.
length also. So that's the reason shorter vocal folds, lesser mass.
Okay.
Females have a higher
So
pitch.
it's inversely related in a way.
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so sometimes, doctor, this happens a lot. Sometime back you said कि अगर आपको और डीपर आवाज चाहिए। बट कई लोग इसी गलतफहमी में भी रहते हैं कि हम हमारी आवाज बदल सकते हैं डॉक्टर के पास जाके। तो ऐसा तो नहीं होता है ना, क्योंकि हर एक की अपनी आवाज है, हर एक की अपनी आवाज का अलग टिम्बर है। एट द मोस्ट यू कैन develop a better range of your voice, but you can't really, कई लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि हमारी आवाज पतली है और वो कॉन्फिडेंस उनका डाउन हो जाता है, उनको भारी आवाज यू नो चाहिए होती है। So with regular exercise or by the help of a vocal coach or a therapist, you think what happens exactly? आवाज तो चेंज नहीं होगी, पर क्या करने से क्या a man or a male voice, can they go a little lower and can they develop a more lower regular note of their voice?
So basically, what vocal coaches or we generally tell you, if they want to develop their voice or change
Mhm,
their voice a little bit,
mhm,
is
mhm.
basically the most important is your breathing. So when you're breathing, when you're having an abdominal breathing, that is when you can change your voice the way you want to. You can change modulation because you're getting a great breath support. I don't need to take pauses for a long. I can talk for a longer time with a, because I'm having a good breath support. If I'm taking shallow breaths, I will get tired in one or two words. So that breathing is very important as far as when you're even trying to go to a base thing. Second is your resonance, which is important when you're talking about creating that low pitch voice. So the resonance from where you're talking, whether like अगर हम देखें हिमेश रेशमिया has a nasal twang because he's using his nasal cavity as his as his resonator.
Okay,
So
okay.
resonators are the one which create a characteristics to your voice. Whether you're talking from the throat, like हलक से बोलना बोलते हैं,
Mhm,
जो
mhm.
उर्दू में you generally have to have some words which are
Nuqtas and
coming,
yeah,
yeah.
बिल्कुल।
So those are basically when you're using your throat. Then you can use your oral cavity, then you can use your nasal cavity or your nasopharynx. So the different, these are all resonators, they give the characteristic to your voice. So the vocal coach will teach you how to use them so that you reach. See, it cannot happen that 100% you will have. I mean, if you say that I want an Amitabh Bachchan voice, it's not going to happen
Of course,
100% because
obviously,
everyone has
absolutely.
their own characteristic
Unique voice,
voice.
yeah, absolutely.
So, but you can reach somewhere by doing these exercises where you know how to use your resonators correctly
Right.
and how to use your breath support so that you can change your voice a little bit. So,
Wonderful, wonderful.
as far as surgery, you said whether we can you do surgery to change your voice.
Mhm,
This is done only in pathological conditions, like
okay,
जैसे males when they are going into puberty, there are certain males who don't go to a male hollow pitched voice.
okay.
Their voice still remains high pitched, and if this person wants to go as a voiceover, because if he's good in my mimicry
Mhm,
or if he's good,
mhm, mhm,
then initially we give them therapy. If they
mhm.
don't improve, then we can go into a surgery where you change female voice to male voice.
Okay,
but
okay.
but in a normal individual, no, surgery is not an option at all.
Absolutely. I think it is very important for people to take pride in their own unique voice and not be in this fallacy that we want to become like someone else. Again, because
Yes.
our industry today, there was a time, Dr. Kowale, till some decades back, where there was this mad obsession about a male, heavy male voice. But today, some of the most amazing, most celebrated voice artists in the industry are people with very regular sounding voice, but what they do on the microphone by through the use of their understanding of the craft and understanding of the voice and understanding of the breath and how they use their entire body to produce that voice. I think that is what makes them so special. So I think that's a good
Yes.
point that one should rather work on their physical voice in terms of the resonators, the clarity, and the breath, most importantly, so that one you can have a voice which is more in your control. So there are no
Yes.
shortcuts because people, very well, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. So हमारी industry में everyone who aspires to get into the craft of voiceovers or voice acting wants to become that voice tomorrow. But when you tell them that these good practices, like have a lot of water, sleep well, do not eat the wrong food, that is not something that is followed. But coming from an acclaimed doctor, a laryngologist, a voice and swallowing specialist, someone who is an ENT, it should, you are the authority. So अगर आप बोल रहे हैं उसके बाद भी अगर कोई नहीं माने तो फिर आदमी कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. सो डॉक्टर, एक और चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि खाने पीने की अगर हम बात करें तो अगेन बहुत सारे मिथ, आई वोंट से मिथ क्योंकि अभी हमें नहीं पता कि क्या वो मिथ है, दैट्स व्हाई वी वांट टू आस्क यू. बहुत सारी बातें बोली जाती है. कोई कहता है कि छाछ मत पीजिए रिकॉर्डिंग के पहले, कोई कहता है ठंडा पानी मत पीजिए, कोई कहता है कि रात को आप कुछ एसिडिटी वाला कुछ खाना, कुछ ऐसा मत खाइए जिससे आपको ब्लोटिंग हो. कई मैं प्रेफर नहीं करता हूं कि इफ आई हैव जस्ट ईटन फूड immediately after that I do not feel like I have my natural lower notes are alive and kicking. I feel a little closed. I feel a little strained if I have to record after, immediately after. तो ऐसा कई बार होता है. So खाने पीने को लेकर what is your, what would you like to say?
Okay. Khana pina is important, though food pipe and your windpipe are completely different.
Correct.
But khana pina is important for one and the most important reason is reflux. Okay.
Exactly.
So there is something called as, everyone knows about GERD. GERD is gastroesophageal reflux disease. मतलब आपका जो खाना है वो स्टमक से ऊपर आके इसोफेगस में आता है. दैट इज व्हेन आपको एंड दैट इज मेनली व्हेन यू लाई डाउन. सो आप जब भी लाई डाउन करते हो तभी आपको ड्राई खांसी आ सकती है. यू मे फील दैट द फूड इज कमिंग अप इन योर थ्रोट और यू मे फील बर्निंग. सो दिस इज GERD. But there is something called as laryngopharyngeal reflux. So laryngopharyngeal reflux is an extension of GERD, wherein the stomach contents जो है वो आपके फूड पाइप यानी इसोफेगस से ऊपर आके they can fall onto your larynx, onto your
Okay.
into your throat.
Okay.
So as the esophagus is more protective as compared as acid is concerned, but larynx is not, or your voice box is not. It
Okay.
doesn't have that protective capacity. It doesn't
Okay.
have that capacity to protect itself. So
Okay.
जब आप अगर आपको acid reflux होता है, that acid is going to cause chemical injury टू योर लैरिंग्स. और अगर वैसे होता है तो आपकी वॉइस चेंज हो सकती है, आपको पेन हो सकता है, बात करते वक्त पेन हो सकता है, आपको रेफर्ड पेन टू द ईयर हो सकता है.
Okay.
या फिर सेकेंड मैकेनिज्म व्हाई दिस हैपेंस इज, आपका जो एसिड है वो फूड पाइप में आ गया, बट उसकी वजह से देयर इज अ न्यूरल रिस्पॉन्स विच कम्स. सो नर्व से वो रिस्पॉन्स इरिटेट्स योर लैरिंग्स और योर वोकल फोल्ड्स और योर वॉइस बॉक्स, and
Okay.
then that causes lesions on your vocal folds. Like it can also, there is something called as granuloma which forms. So there is something called as, you can also get polyps, you can get multiple things if you don't follow a proper food regime and you land up with reflux. So that is the reason food habits are very very important.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have to eat every 2 hourly. Don't
Okay.
eat anything very spicy. Don't attend post. Uh, I mean, it's ironic, but yeah, don't attend post program parties or
Parties. Yeah.
post, because that's going to affect, because you're going to have a
We
late
have we
night.
have a post program party happening on the 8th after our, but I have a disclaimer here, but we start serving food at 8 o'clock. तो
Okay.
आप जल्दी लीजिए, 8 बजे खाना लीजिए, 8 बजे खाना लीजिए और 12 बजे तक पार्टी कीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, राइट डॉक्टर? As long as
Yes,
you're having food on
absolutely.
time and you're not having anything wrong and have less
Yes.
spicy, बिल्कुल. So
Yes.
so there is merit in that, right? There is merit in the
Absolutely,
fact that.
absolutely. That's the same reason for alcohol. Alcohol causes dehydration,
Yeah.
and it also can give reflux.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why you shouldn't have alcohol, especially late at night. You cannot say shouldn't have, because yeah, but you have to have you have to control your alcohol intake, and if you really want to have it, don't have it late at night when
Yeah,
it's going to really affect your
correct. I understand. So, doctor, so when it comes to alcohol, while an idealistic, a very utopian view would be that don't have it. There's nothing good about alcohol, but the reality is that people do consume alcohol. So, in that scenario, in a more everyday life scenario, that one is a social drinker, one drinks socially. So, what are the good practices in terms of alcohol? One, you said don't have it too late at night. Is there any connection between food and alcohol? Traditionally, if you notice in our society, people have always had their drinks and later they have their food, right? I realized many years back that I probably on occasions I will probably have a drink. So I realized that if I'm having a drink and if I'm having food after that, I get up next morning with a terrible headache. But when I flip that and when I have a complete full meal, early meal, and then if I have that one social drink, it does not bother me at all the next morning. So, and this is something that it could impact a lot of people. So, is there any science to it?
yes, it has. Because if you are having alcohol on empty stomach, it's going to hit you hard. It can give you reflux again. So the best practice to do is when you're leaving home, have some salads, have something to eat, and then go and attend and have that small little drink. You can
Right.
also accompany it with some starter, especially if it's an healthy starter like a
Yeah.
chicken which
Mhm.
is baked or chicken which is,
Sure.
so that's a healthier option to have,
Mhm.
even for voice, otherwise as well, but even for
Mhm.
your voice.
Okay, that's interesting. So I hope everyone is watching this, and we're gonna take out this clip later and put it out for the entire industry. Okay, this is so, and you've been so articulate, simple, lucid about it, and on to the point that this is a good practice in case if there is no other option. But again, that
Yes,
a disclaimer: I don't think any of us are. Uh, Propagating or advocating having
absolutely.
alcohol or smoking. One should absolutely not have alcohol or smoke, especially if you are, especially if you are a fresh or a new talent in the industry. And I see that a lot. I see sometimes new talent, young talent. There's a lot of peer pressure, social pressure, or they feel that it's industry mein hai, or they have that urgency to get success, to get a deeper voice. I know friends, I know junior colleagues who will every half an hour they want to go out for a smoke, and I really want to tell them. And I have Dr. Shama Kovale with me. I'm not the authority, but she is, and you heard it from her that smoking is absolutely very very uh, dangerous. बहुत ही हानिकारक है. वो सिर्फ लिखावा नहीं होता है, आवाज के लिए बहुत ज्यादा. So there's no shortcut to getting a deeper voice if you're a male and if you're looking at that. Take pride in your voice and just work on your breath, work on ensuring that you have a healthy body, that you are very, very well hydrated. So when it comes to seeking professional help, so this is a very, very important question, Dr. Kovale, because जैसा आपने कहा ये पहली बार है जब आप किसी वॉइस ओवर और डबिंग इंडस्ट्री के किसी फोरम को एड्रेस कर रहे हैं. और आई एम श्योर कि आपके पास जो क्लाइंट्स भी आते हैं, ज्यादातर, एंड आई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड ज्यादातर आपके अगर एंटरटेनमेंट या परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स की बात करें, सिंगर्स आते होंगे ज्यादातर. एम आई राइट? तो
Yes,
दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टेलिंग साइन कि हमारी इंडस्ट्री में इसकी इसकी अवेयरनेस कम है. इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि हमें तकलीफें कम है. आई थिंक हमारे यहाँ एवरी सेकेंड परफॉर्मिंग आर्टिस्ट should needs medical or professional help when it comes to their voice or regular. It's like आदमी फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट के पास जो एथलीट होते हैं वो रेगुलरली फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट से दे गेट देयर मेंटेनेंस.
yes,
उसी तरह
yes.
वोकल आर्टिस्ट को भी करना चाहिए. तो व्हेन डू यू थिंक शुड अ वॉइस ओवर आर्टिस्ट कम टू यू? कब ऐसा लगे उनको कि उनको आपके पास आना चाहिए?
So whenever they feel any kind of change in voice, difficulty in
Okay.
performing. They feel strain, they feel fatigued when they're doing it, they feel that they're not able to perform to their level, to
Okay.
their level of expertise uh, as always.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
these are the few times when they have to come and get themselves evaluated. And
Correct.
specifically, I would like to say that yes, they get help from the vocal coaches, but the first person they need to go when they have these problems is to go to a voice specialist or a laryngologist or an ENT
Laryngologist.
who is specialized in voice and uh, art of voice. So
Correct.
that is because you first need to see the larynx, you first need to see the vocal folds. How are they healthy, is there anything happening there, is there anything which needs to be addressed so that this can be treated. So once you do that, then we, because a therapist or a vocal coach or a singing coach are all a part of a team. A laryngologist and all these three are a part of a team. So once we see the vocal folds, that
Mhm.
is when we decide what exactly does the patient need. Does he need a therapy? Does he need any other kind of an evaluation? Does he need further evaluation? So depending on that, they will be directed, and that will help them recover faster from whatever problem they are suffering from.
करेक्ट, करेक्ट। अमेजिंग। सो डॉक्टर, जैसे उस मशीन को स्ट्रोबोस्कोप कहते हैं, स्ट्रोबोस्कोपी कहते हैं। मुझे भी तब पता चला जब मेरे साथ ये हुआ था किस्सा। तो मैं वो बात इसलिए कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि आई कंसिडर माई सेल्फ फेयरली अवेयर, माइंडफुल, वर्ल्डली वाइज अबाउट दीज थिंग्स। और पर मेरे साथ भी ये हुआ। मैं पिछले 25-30 साल से आई एम अ प्रैक्टिसिंग वॉइस आर्टिस्ट, बट आई हैव नेवर हैड द गुड सेंस to ever go to a laryngologist generally। वो ईएनटी के पास कभी-कभी चले गए जब गला बहुत ज़्यादा खराब हो गया तब। तो पर ये मेरे साथ कुछ साल पहले हुआ जब आई रियलाइज़ कि समथिंग इज़ रॉन्ग और आवाज़ चेंज हो रही है और होर्सनेस आ रही है। इंडिया वॉइस फेस्ट का ही टाइम था 2021 में। और तब मैं पहली बार गया और मुझे पता चला कि ये स्ट्रोबोस्कोपी क्या होती है। जैसे आपका एक्स-रे होता है शरीर का, वैसे स्ट्रोबोस्कोप भी आपके आपके वोकल कॉर्ड्स का एक्स-रे होता है। मुझे नहीं लगता कि अगर हम 100 वॉइस आर्टिस्ट की बात करें या 1000 की बात करें, उन 1000 में से 10 ने भी कभी स्ट्रोबोस्कोपी कराई होगी। क्योंकि कोई क्यों कराएगा? अब ये तो आज आप बोल रहे हो तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये एक जनरल मेंटेनेंस एंड केयर एंड इवैल्यूएशन के लिए ये हमारा वो एसेट है जिससे हमारी रोजी-रोटी, हमारी ज़िंदगी चलती है। और कई बार लोग एक आवाज़ की प्रॉब्लम के साथ जिए जा रहे हैं। I really wish, doctor, I know, having gone through this and realized that I had a polyp and I had a vocal surgery and all that and I got back. Uh, but स्ट्रोबोस्कोपी जो होती है, इसका जो प्राइस होता है थोड़ा इनोवेटिव होता है क्योंकि ये एक बड़ी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड मशीन है, एक टिपिकल एक्सरे मशीन नहीं है। आई डोंट नो, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट आई रियली विश ऐसा कोई कोई तरीका हो जिससे हम कोई कैंप या कुछ लगा सकें हमारे जो वॉइस ओवर आर्टिस्ट की कम्युनिटी है, क्योंकि ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं है हिंदुस्तान में। उस लेवल पे कभी किसी ने सोचा ही नहीं है कि हम इस तरह का। तो आई डोंट नो, मे बी हो सकता है आने वाले समय में मैं आपसे अलग से बात करूं और आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूं कि आप आपकी हॉस्पिटल की अथॉरिटीज से बात करें, क्योंकि हमारी इतनी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री है और मुंबई हमारा गढ़ है। और अगर इस तरह का कुछ हो पाए तो जो भी लोग देख रहे हैं, आई होप
We
आप भी
can
इस बात
think
से
about it.
करते हैं। हाँ,
We
क्योंकि
can
बड़ा।
talk about it later when we are.
हाँ, हाँ, बिल्कुल। ये तो आपसे बात करते-करते मेरे मन में आया कि काश ऐसा कुछ हो सके तो हम एट इंडिया वॉइस फेस्ट हम पहल
So,
करना चाहेंगे इस तरह।
because you're talking of stroboscopy, I would like to tell people what exactly
हाँ,
stroboscopy
प्लीज़
is.
बताइए। मैं इसलिए नहीं बात कर रहा था क्योंकि लोग डर नहीं जाएँ, पर आप बताएँगे तो अच्छा
नहीं
लगेगा।
नहीं, डरने की बात नहीं है.
डरने की
Stroboscopy
कोई
is
बात नहीं।
basically a camera. It's a noodle like camera. It's literally like a noodle with a camera at the tip, which goes through your nose into your throat, which is your vocal cords, which are exactly located here in your throat.
करेक्ट,
Therefore we cannot see it by opening your mouth. So when we put that camera in, that is when we come to know. So there are two instruments. There is simple laryngoscopy, wherein, like I explained, you see only these movements of the vocal folds, whether they are moving or no.
ओके,
But in stroboscopy, what you see, it's a real time image. So it's a real time image. So what happens is you're able to see that they are closing. So the vocal cords close from below up, then again they open like this. So you see this vibratory motion of the vocal folds when you are doing a stroboscopy, and it is real time. So what is the advantage of not only seeing this and then seeing this? Is basically when you're doing a stroboscopy, when there are even smallest lesions on the vocal folds are seen clearly because of the vibrations. So, like Darpan said, he had a polyp. So, when there is a polyp, it can be seen on a normal laryngoscopy as well. But there are other lesions also which have to be differentiated from the polyp. That is where stroboscopy plays a role. Wherein, in some cases, if there's a vocal fold cyst, which people do have, I just recently operated a single with a vocal fold cyst. So what happens is when this vibration is absent at at the site of that lesion, so
Okay.
then you come to know that this is affecting the vocal folds and therefore you need to get it out. Okay. So
Wow.
this is the difference between a normal laryngoscopy and a stroboscopy. So that is why it is a specialized machine wherein
Correct.
even little bit of change in your vocal fold you come to know on a stroboscope. And it's a
Amazing.
very important, and it's like the thing which you need
It's the
in
gold
a,
standard. It's the gold
yes, it's a
standard in
gold
terms of your
standard in terms as far
investigation.
as voice is concerned.
मतलब ये समझे हम ले पर्सन लैंग्वेज में एक्सरे वर्सेस अ सीटी एमआरआई और समथिंग लाइक दैट हमारे एक ले पर्सन लैंग्वेज में कि
हाँ,
आपको एकदम
possible,
डीप में
हाँ,
आपकी
yeah,
आपके आपके वोकल कॉर्ड्स के लिए बहुत
yes,
ज्यादा जरूरी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, yes.
अमेजिंग is there any special case without obviously revealing anything that you do not need to any unique case with reference to the spoken voice that has come to you or is there any case study that you can take us through
So I can
when it
talk
comes
to
to the
you
spoken
about a
voice?
singer. I don't have
Okay.
a very because spoken voice. I don't have very unique case as far as a
Okay.
spoken
Okay.
voice is
Okay.
concerned. Because yeah, I had a teacher basically as
Mhm.
far as not a voiceover artist. What
No,
I'm
no,
talking
that's
about
a
was
very important point, डॉक्टर टीचर क्योंकि कितनी टीचर्स हैं हमारे जान पहचान में ही कुछ लोग हैं जिनकी अरे वन ऑफ माय रिलेटिव्स उनकी आवाज इतनी होर्स है वो टीचर है बच्चों की पर वो जिए जा रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको रियलाइज ही नहीं हो रहा अगर वो वॉइस ओवर आर्टिस्ट होते तो शायद बहुत पहले इसको उन्होंने ट्रीट करवा लिया होता तो हाँ ये बताइए टीचर का
so teacher. Basically, she was having change of voice since 6 months.
ओके
She was not able to a teacher for the kindergarten kids, and you know how difficult it is when it comes to smaller kids because you have to tell them, you have to handle them, you have to control them, you have to do all sorts of things with them because they
करेक्ट
don't
करेक्ट
understand. So that is where voice is very important for a teacher as compared to a older kids.
करेक्ट
So she had this for 6 months. She didn't realize that it is actually affecting her voice till some of her friends told her that your voice is changed.
ओके ओके
She herself, she was feeling tired at the end of the day. She was feeling that I don't want to talk after I go home, but she
ओके
didn't realize that her voice has changed. She was completely, so it used to happen that she used to take 2 days of leave and not talk at all because she was so tired and fatigued because of the problem which she had.
ओके
And
ओके
when the friend told her, that is when she realized, oh, I must be having some problem. And because I want to continue as a teacher, I need to get it sorted. And
ओके
that
ओके
is when the friend got her to me, and that is when we did a stroboscopy, and then we realized that there was a polyp. So she had a polyp for 6 months, which was giving her. So what happens is when you have lesions on your vocal cords, what happens is normally the vocal cords have to close completely. But when there is a lesion on the vocal fold, there is a gap.
ओके
So when there is a gap, there is air escape that is happening. So you have to put lot of effort, whether you're taking deep breaths or not taking deep breaths. You have to, you there is an air escape that makes you put lot of effort to talk even one sentence if there is a air leak happening,
Okay,
and that
okay,
makes you tired,
okay.
that
Interesting.
makes you fatigued, and that makes you feel that I'm putting a lot of effort in talking even simple things.
Yeah, this happened with me when I had that incident. It happened with me because I had a polyp, and one
Yeah,
part of the vocal fold was not folding, was not closing. So I
yeah.
didn't
So
realize that.
because that lesion is not going allowing the vocal folds to come closer completely.
Okay,
That's
okay,
the reason there is a gap, and that allows the air leak to happen. The
correct.
second thing with her, what I observed when she came into, so for us as a voice specialist, the evaluation starts the moment patient walks into our cabin.
Okay.
So we observe the patient completely, like how is he walking, how is the gait, how is the posture,
Oh,
and then once they sit, then we when they start talking, we observe their voice. Voice gives a lot of idea, whether
yeah,
it is hoarse voice or
yeah.
is a whispering voice. So
Hmm.
some people have this voice also, because
Okay,
this is because of leakage, so air leak which is happening. So this
okay,
can happen in vocal cord palsies or paralysis, which can happen to anyone.
okay, okay.
Okay, so that is one thing we observe. The third thing is breathing. So we there are certain people who come and sit in front of you and they are breathing like this. So it's a shallow breathing with shoulder
Correct,
which is
correct, correct.
happening. They're using their neck muscle, they're using their shoulders, they're not
Correct.
even going deep into their chest. So you
Hmm.
know that there is faulty, what are the faulty things, and you need to correct them before you're going for a surgery as well.
Amazing,
So
amazing.
you have to send them to your therapist and explain to them that you have to improve this. And after the surgery, also you need to send them to the therapist so that they don't go back to their old faulty ways of talking, so that it
Correct.
doesn't come back. So
Amazing.
in
So
short, this is
much. There is
how
so much to it.
it's a
Wow, there is so
it's
much.
a huge science
It's
basically.
huge science, and the funny thing is, it is our entire life. And
Yes.
most of us, if not all of us, most of us are completely unaware, ignorant, and uneducated about the science of the physical voice. While we play with the creative voice, with the mind voice in terms of acting with our voice, but all the emotions, everything has to be supported by a good physical voice. So that is so
Yes.
important, and I really wish that more and more people from my fraternity, from the voice artist community, start looking at evaluating their physical voice, because in the long run, it's like this is the car that we drive. So if
That's
I
your
do not
bread and butter.
take it
That's
to a
what
service
yours.
station at least once a year, तो फिर आगे ना पीछे तकलीफ तो होगी, एक दिन झटके देने लगेगी, आप रियलाइज ही नहीं करोगे. So that's very very informative and very insightful, doctor. Amazing. The next thing that I wanted to ask you was, we've often heard people say कि uh, don't shout and don't whisper. जबकि don't go very high, don't go very low. हमारे काम में भी बड़ा जरूरी है कि तो वरना वॉइस क्रैक होने लगती है. तो why should one avoid these two extreme practices in their everyday speech? It could be anybody. It could be a voiceover artist or a regular person.
That's because of the level at which the vocal folds vibrate when you're shouting and when you're whispering. That
Okay,
causes lot of damage. So they have to vibrate at a higher speed than what they will generally. So there is a fundamental frequency. Fundamental frequency is basically the number of vibrations that happen when you're talking at a normal speaking level, the number of vibrations of the vocal folds that happen in a second. So when you're shouting, that's going to go to multiples of whatever it is. If it is, if as a female, if my fundamental frequency lies between 190 and 210, when I'm
that's
shouting,
210 times the vocal cord will flap in 1 second.
yes,
In
yes,
1 second,
yes.
wow.
So if that happens in, if I'm screaming and it goes to 300, 350, 400, it's going to vibrate at that level and it's going to hit each other with that much of force. and that is detrimental and that is not good for your vocal
हाँ,
folds.
नो वंडर जब हम कभी चिल्लाते हैं या बहुत जोर से बोलते हैं तो हम कहते हैं गला बैठ गया या गला फट जैसे ले पर्सन लैंग्वेज में कहते हैं कि फट रही है
Yeah,
आवाज,
because that
दर्द।
can cause vocal fold hemorrhages. You can bleed sometimes in your
ओ माय गॉड।
vocal cords if you
और
shout.
विस्पर करने में क्या दिक्कत है? तो विस्पर तो अभी
विस्पर
तक
में भी
लोअर नोट
वही
पे
है,
कर रहे हैं।
विस्पर में हाँ, तो विस्पर में व्हाट आर यू डूइंग, यू यूज अलाउिंग एयर लीक टू हैपन, so you are
अच्छा,
talking like this.
राइट,
That
ओके,
again puts a lot of pressure on your vocal folds because you
ओके,
have to keep them open, you don't have to allow them to vibrate, and that also puts a lot of pressure on your vocal folds.
okay. Interesting. So that's another very, very important point we've got out of our way, that avoid shouting and avoid whispering. You
And
know,
whispering.
the thing is, doctor, that these are things that we've read about, that we've heard about, but I'm asking you, and the way you're explaining it, you're giving us a backstory, which makes it much easier for us to believe, accept, and absorb, these things, which is so important. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. And when we are as dubbing artists or as voiceover artists, stress is also a big part of the game of our lives. There are deadlines, there are odd hours of recording. So mental stress is the next topic that I want to talk about. The connection between mental stress and your voice, and how does it again impact your voice, and how does it?
Okay. So when it comes to mental stress, your breathing is affected. When you're stressed, you don't take deep breaths. Push breathing very fast. So that can affect your voice.
Ah, okay.
When you're stressed, you're irritable. When you're irritable, you're all tensed. So
Yeah.
these muscles are your extra laryngeal muscles. So the
Okay.
muscles in the neck are also your extra laryngeal muscles. That is the muscles which are moving your larynx from outside. They
Okay.
don't form the larynx, but they are outside and they are important.
Okay.
So when you're stressed, all this can become very, very stiff and go into spasm. Okay. So this can lead to something called as muscle tension dysphonia. That is when your muscles are in tension or they are very strained. That is when your voice can change. Getting your neck stiff can also put a lot of pressure on your voice, and that can change your voice. Again, if you're irritable and if you're angry, you can shout, you can scream, you can fight. That again will affect your voice.
Okay.
There can also It can also lead to dehydration because you're not aware of what you're doing when you are stressed. You may not drink as much water as you want to. You may indulge into unhealthy habits which you generally would not because you are stressed. You may
Okay.
binge eat,
Yeah.
which is again not good for your health. So
Correct. Correct.
all these things participate in affecting your voice when you're stressed. So that's why when you want to record, you need to be relaxed. That is the main thing. When you are That's the reason why you're told how to relax when you're
Yeah.
doing your recording or before
Yeah. Yeah.
dubbing or before going for your recording.
Absolutely amazing, because we always say that that's why कई बार कहा जाता है कि थोड़ा सा ब्रीदिंग एक्सरसाइज कर लो, काम डाउन। और मैं एक एक एग्जांपल मैं इस चीज को लेकर कई बार देता हूँ कि जब हम बहुत नर्वस होते हैं तब हम कहते हैं कि गला सूख गया है। जब आप और हम बहुत यू फील अ लॉट ऑफ टाइटनिंग ऑफ योर नेक एरिया। सो दिस इज हाउ इट्स कनेक्टेड, बिकॉज यू आर नर्वस, बिकॉज इट्स अगेन एवरीथिंग इज
Yes,
रिलेटेड टू योर मेंटल हेल्थ।
because you carry your stress here. Most of the people carry their stress on your shoulders.
अच्छा, इसीलिए हिंदी में कहते हैं कि आपके कंधे बहुत जिम्मेदारियां उठा रहे हैं। वहीं से आया है मतलब। So amazing, doctor. So what you're saying is there is everything is connected with your voice, your
Yes.
physical health, your mental health, your breath, everything. It's a complete holistic process. So जो इतनी
Yes.
छोटी सी चीज है, जो टिश्यू इतना छोटा है, फोकल फोल्ड्स इतने छोटे हैं कि आपको लिटरली माइक्रोस्कोप से देखने पड़ते हैं, और वो इतना इतना बड़ा काम है उनका और इतना इतना इन्वॉल्वमेंट है. It's a tissue finally, right? The vocal fold
Yes,
is it's a tissue, or
yes.
it's not a muscle, right?
It has a muscle. Muscle forms
It
the
has.
main body of your vocal.
Okay. Lovely. So everyone who is watching, I think we've never had such a detailed, insightful, and at the same time, a very simple to understand explanation about the physical voice and about the connection of that voice with your mental health, with your physical health, and also as performing artists, how important it is for us to get regular vocal checkups done. जैसे हम बीमारी के बुखार के लिए जाते हैं या वायरल इन्फेक्शन के लिए डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, उसी तरह हमारे गले, हमारी आवाज के लिए भी हमको laryngologist या ENT को दिखाना ही चाहिए. It should become a regular practice, and I really hope that conversations like this go a long way in helping people become more aware. Someone is asking in the comments if you could suggest or recommend some regimen or some warm up exercise, क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि सवेरे when we wake up तब हमारी आवाज, हाँ ये मुझे जानना था आपसे डॉक्टर कि तब हमारी आवाज थोड़ी भारी क्यों होती है.
When you wake up in the morning, yeah, generally अपनी आवाज़ भारी होती है. The same reason why sips is because you're not your voice is not hydrated at that point of time, because you have
Correct.
slept all through. You have not had water for last whatever 8, 6, 7 hours.
Right.
So
Right.
that is one reason. Then you're breathing. If you're breathing through your mouth, then it becomes more hoarse. If
Okay.
you're a mouth breather, sometimes some people do snore, that can also affect your voice.
Okay.
So these are the few reasons why when you wake up in the morning, the voice is hoarse. And again, the same thing when sleep deprivation also causes
I've
uh,
noticed that. I've noticed that if I've had a
voice
very
change.
late night and the next morning I wake up with a groggy sounding
Yes,
voice.
that
Yes,
is
I have
again
noticed
because
that.
of dehydration, and because you have not slept well. The vocal folds are not rested well, because when you are awake, you're talking, you're doing something or
Correct.
the other. Even if you're not recording, you are doing something or the other with
Correct.
your
Of
vocal
course.
folds. You're talking a little bit.
Of course.
Probably you have had a party at night, then that
Yeah.
again affects your voice. So
Correct.
sleep is very important because there is no relaxation happening. So like you
Correct.
give sleep, like you use sleep as a relaxation for your body, it's
Hmm.
also a relaxation for your voice box.
Of course. Of course. Very wise words that sleep long enough, give yourself good amount of sleep. So I think the answers are all very clear. Now it's up to us, up to the voice artist, whether they want to follow it. And the answers are very clear. Be kind to your body, be kind to your mental health, and your voice will be kind to you. And
And be proud of your voice,
be proud
whatever
of
you
your
have.
voice. Absolutely. Do not try to be someone else, and be proud of your individual voice. And once again, get your regular vocal checkups done. Dr. Kowale, by the way, practices at the Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital in Andheri in Mumbai, and she has been very kind to give us this hour of her time and share with us such lovely insights in such a friendly, warm, and an easy to understand fashion. And Doctor, is there can how can somebody reach you in case they want to consult you? Should they directly connect with the hospital?
They can connect with the hospital, or they can take my number, which can connect them to the secretary. So they can take the
Okay.
phone number uh, if they want to, or you
Yeah,
can
sure.
share.
If you're okay with sharing a number, then maybe we could pin that into the comment.
Yeah, you can.
Or is there an email ID? What is the best way? Connecting with your
Email
secretary is the
ID.
best way?
Yes, that will be the direct way,
Yeah,
because
that would
this
be
phone
better.
number, yeah, all through the day it is with my secretary, so they can.
Perfect. Can we have that number? I'll ask my colleague to put that in the
Yes,
comment box.
yes. 98
Yes. Yeah.
209
Hmm.
50
Hmm.
769.
Perfect. So everyone who's watching, if you would like to connect with Dr. Shama Kowale, she practices, like I said earlier, at the Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital in Andheri West in Mumbai, and She's been very, very kind with her time. And I hope, Doctor, that we can see you on the 8th of December at Rang Sharda. We would love for
Yes,
you to be there.
I would love to be there. Uh,
Absolutely. And it would be wonderful for our community to also meet you.
it was pleasure being here. It's voice is my passion, and I just love to talk about it. I
That
don't know,
makes it the
bro.
two of us. That makes it the two of us. And thank you so much and for joining us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the 8th for the grand finale in Mumbai at Rang Sharda Auditorium. You have a great evening, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad.